But I put a community post up, right? And I was asking for what guys you guys would like to see, and our overwhelming response was Riz techniques. Obviously, I don't think that is my area of expertise, but if you guys want the Riz tech, we can try our best. Or we can go with the actual suggestion and we can go for setups. Setups. I've already done best aim training techniques. This guy clearly doesn't watch the channel very much, but yeah. Dude, what's up, Legads? Oh, it's Nesco. What's up, Nesco? Welcome, welcome. But yes, we can't. That is up to you guys. What would you guys like to see today? Would you guys want actual learning experience where I teach you guys how to run setups for early round, or would you guys want something that makes zero sense? Yeah, exactly what Bonsai said. Okay, so we'll go with setups today. That's what setups mean, is like your early round runs. Again, we're probably going to be using I need to update. I played a little bit off stream this morning because I had a bit of time. So we need to update this real quick. Oh, I already did that. Alright, no, I'm dumb. It's fine. So again, we're probably gonna use Mirage. Only because Mirage is undoubtedly the most popular map that's being played right now outside of Dust 2. And I really don't think that showing Inferno is exactly necessary, because Inferno is probably like the most standard map ever. So if you're struggling on learning setups on Inferno, you should look into going back to kindergarten. Oh my god, it's Andrea! Hey! Hi, Andrea. Welcome to chat. Colin on top. Jesus, videos got onto my record. He's actually good. Yeah, Colin's actually pretty good. Unlucky for him though. I beat him twice in a row and he has beaten me 0 times already. So he might be number 1 NA right now, but we're getting there. We'll be up there soon. we smoked him on stream. Actually, he was in one of the pugs on stream. But yeah, hi Andrea. How are you? Also, I got a haircut. Look at that. Do a little spin. Oh my god. How's your game with 10s? I taught 10s lineups. That's what we ended up doing. Yeah, I did a little twirl for stream to show off my haircut. My hair is wet, so it's kind of like floppy right now, but it's fine. But yeah, during the pug with 10s is still a mechanically insane player. Only problem is he still struggles with game sense. That's been a problem ever since he started playing the game. From what I remember, like when I ran into him in pugs like years ago before he moved to Valorant. So whenever I run into him with pugs, he still has the same exact problem. Where, what is happening? Okay. But yeah, he still has a problem with game sense, and now he has a problem with util knowledge, so I ended up spending most of the pug teaching him lineups. So I kind of threw, but he ended up carrying us. So my investment was worth it, because he's still mechanically insane and he's an absolute god. Thank you, Tens, if you ever watch this, thank you so much for carrying me. And also you're welcome for the knowledge refresh on jungle smokes and stair smokes and CT smokes and get right smokes and market window smokes. Anyways, okay. Tangent over. Setups. I'll be teaching you how to run standard setups. I don't think I'll teach you how to run like situational setups, only because those vary so widely that if I were to go through like each specific thing that you can do, like small little tweaks, we'd be here all night, okay? So I'm just gonna teach you like very standard setups that you usually do, depending on what position you are, right? So one standard setup per position, and that'll probably be it. I don't think I'm gonna go like hyper in detail and do like 50 different random setups that you can do. Like for ramp, there's like I can already think off the top of my head. There's 5 ways you can play ramp. I'm only gonna teach you one. which is usually the standard one that most players go for, only because that's like the meta, and the only reason why you'd ever deviate from that is like based on situation, like based on your situational approach to it. So, do you know deep B app smoke? No, I don't actually. I don't ever use that one. I know it's a thing. I know I should learn it, but I don't really have a need to because I never really played B. Okay, so let's say we'll start from the farthest wing on A, and we'll move over to the farthest wing on B. Okay. So let's say you're starting A, and you're gonna be the A site anchor. Usually what happens on Mirage is you're gonna play a 1-3-1 split, which means that there's gonna be three players towards mid and then one on each site. So if you're the A player, you're most likely going to be alone. And your con player and your window player are going to be helping you hold palace should the need arise. Other than that, your main focus is going to be ramp. Therefore, this is my setup when I usually play A. You'll see it during my pugs. So spawn start, you run out, you run here. A lot of times, some players would throw their molly like the. Oh shit! They'll throw their molly like that, and it'll bounce front ramp, so they can't get out towards Tetris fast. That's a shallow molly. I don't like that one only because here I'll show you. Let's drop it here again. So this is where a lot of players like to throw their molly. The only reason why I don't like this is because they can just jump up here and they'll still like shoot you while you're crossing, and then that'll give you cancer. I hate that. So when I play towards A, the most standard setup I do is I run and I throw this deep. I just aim at this thing. And what it does is it blocks out the entire thing. The only way they can ever get up is through here, and even then they still do take damage. And not only that, they have to like contend with this really close wall, which usually blocks their entry, and it keeps them from jumping up here. So they can't take this deep peek, and they can't get on this ramp either because it's still spreading here. Does that make sense? So when I'm playing towards A, that's how I stop a rush. That's how I play around the rush. I always just wait until I hit triple box and then throw. So once you go up to this box, you chuck it, and that's it. And after that, I usually play close ramp. The reason why I play close ramp is because if I play back here, and they're also playing palace, and then let's say our con guy dies, and I'm stuck here, right? So being on site is never a really good idea unless you're playing this angle right here, because then this protects you from everything, right? This is the only place you'd ever play when you're on site. I know a lot of players, they love playing firebox, default, and like back triple. I think these spots are actually really cancer and they throw your game. Only because if I'm playing triple, I have to jiggle here, fight palace. I have to fight with palace and ramp, and I have to worry about this con push if it ever happens, and even cat too. So triple is horrible. Default is also, like, in my opinion, pretty bad, because if I were to ever play default, yeah, I had to keep the ramp guys from coming out, because my job as an A player is always to just protect ramp, right? But then I have to contend with palace too, because if my jungle guy misses this shot, or the con guy misses this shot, this guy swings me and I'm dead, and then we lose A. So the only places I really ever consider playing A is, like, let's say that, so I chuck this molly's still here. I come up, and if I play in close ramp, I'll right click this smoke and I'll just sit behind the smoke. Be careful sitting along this wall. A lot of high elo players will just start spamming it, so because that's what I do too. I'll stand up here after the molly burns out, and I'll just spam this. And if you're standing here, you're gonna die. And if you're standing here, this is the most pre-fired spot ever. So usually when I'm playing close ramp, I'll drop the smoke here, and I'll just play a really random like angle like right here. As Bonsai suggested, sandwich also works too. Just be careful of palace. This is actually pretty cancer. But a lot of people like playing sandwich, but only ever play sandwich if palace is smoked. So yeah, if you're playing close ramp, don't play in this corner. Don't play in this corner. Play in the middle. This is the least spammed place. I know intuitively this sounds stupid, because if people are spamming the smoke, they're spamming randomly, but no. Most people think before they spam. Of course, in lower elo, people might randomly spam you out here, but in cases of high elo, most of the time they'll be spamming specific spots. They're just commonly sat in. So if you're playing close ramp, you sit there. A lot of times I like sitting under balk, only because under balk is actually like one of the strongest spots on A, because you get to pick your fights. See, this little pillar here, this allows you to take any ramp fight you want, right? Like you could take Tetris safely, you could take deep ramp safely and back up. You can even just sit back and wait until they cross, and you still take these fights whenever you want. And there's no, unless if they get con control, there is no counterplay to this. They have to take this duel with you. Of course, the only other counterplay is if they come out and just molly you, and then now you're dead. But even then, if they do molly you, you legit just smoke it. Because you won't be smoking ramp. You won't be smoking ramp if you play under balk. The only time you smoke ramp is if you're playing close. So you just smoke it, and now what this does, it pretty much blocks their entire cross. They can't cross the site anymore. The only way that they can ever take site now is by funneling through this choke. Because if they try to cross through this smoke, you're gonna kill them for free. So that's why under balk is such a powerful spot. That's where I like to play at A. If you're a passive player and you don't like being aggressive, I'm more of an aggressive player, so a lot of times I'll be playing close, but most players, or not most players, but a lot of players like being passive. If you're playing passive, don't play on site. Like I said earlier, don't play on site, you're going to give yourself cancer. Play ticket. Same angle. Triple, you're going to be looking at ramp. Ticket, you're still going to be looking at ramp. Same angle, but you're more safe. Does that make sense? It's the same angle, you fight the same thing, you're protecting ramp. Except now, if they do come up palace, you don't have to contend with such a dangerous situation. You actually have a head glitch. So since you have this head glitch, it's actually a pretty easy kill usually on palace guy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's your standard A setup. And for con setup, usually I'll be running up. You'll see this a lot in my pug since I'm normally a con or cat player. But usually my standard setup is I'll throw a flash. And the reason why I throw this flash isn't for me, by the way. It's important to know this. Just because you throw this flash doesn't mean that it's for you. The reason why you see me throw this flash is actually for your window player. I missed that one. It's actually for your window player because then it blinds them, and by that time your window player is usually... I just got stuck on the floor. Your window player is just coming to window. That means when he comes out, all of these players here are likely blind and getting free kills. So it's actually a supportive flash. The reason why I do that is obviously because I want to win the round. It's important to know that most of the time when you throw a flash it's for your teammates and it's not for yourself. Self-flashing is actually like not very meta. It's really just for pugs. It's really just a pug thing. So I throw this flash here, and a lot of times I'll run this smoke. What this smoke does, it keeps anyone from coming up bottom con on you, and you pretty much get free kills. You just get a free fight to top mid. Because this is the only angle that you have to worry about now. This one right here. So a lot of times, this is why you'll see me run this a lot. I'll throw the smoke, I'll jump up, and I'll just pre-fire this instantly. A lot of times, you'll get a free kill just by doing this. And that's how I set up early game con. And that's it. And by this time, I'll still have a molly. I'll usually still have a molly or nade left, depending on if my A player decides to molly ramp or not. If my A player does not molly ramp, I'll only have a nade at this time. But a lot of times, you'll also see me do this. I'll throw this smoke. I'll run out wide, chuck this nade top mid, and then run back, and then peek this angle. What this does is this nade just does free damage, honestly. That's all it's for. It just gets free damage. Alice, can you throw the smoke in the little corner spots on both sides? What do you mean? Oh, this? Are you talking about these? This one right here, and it smokes cat. I don't know what you're talking about. That's for T side. That's a T side. In con, when you... Oh, the little corner spots like these, if you actually hit this... Hold on. Damn it. Like if you hit these... Dude, you're giving me AIDS. The corner edge and... Oh, okay. Here, let me wait for these to fade. Are you saying, can I throw it here? Like that? Yeah, that works perfectly fine. Yeah, it's the same smoke. Yeah, it's the same thing. The reason I don't do it like that is because sometimes I'm retarded. And sometimes I'm retarded and like my hand doesn't work well. Like my hand's not working with me. And I'll actually throw it too far like that. I've done that a few times and it's given me so much cancer that I just completely adjusted my way of playing the game. Where I just chuck it off the wall. Because it's more consistent, you just chuck it straight. You know what I mean? If you chuck it straight, more often than not, it's always going to land where you want it to. Instead of like doing like this, and it's like sometimes it'll land, sometimes it won't. Especially if you're running up and you're chucking this flash really fast. And you're like this. See? That's what I'm talking about. I do that all the time. Right? You see how it bounced out into deep mid? I get cancer. If you throw in the left corner, you get a one-way underpass. I mean, if you throw it anywhere on this left wall, you get a one-way underpass. Okay, well, I messed it up. No, this smoke is the first one I threw. So you still get a one-way underpass as long as you throw on the left side. Right side, on the right side, you get a one-way to top mid. So you throw on the right side, you'll get more cover towards top mid. And if you crouch over here, they barely see you. So this depends on which fight you're trying to take. Usually I throw it left side. Usually I throw it left side because I'm more scared of an underpass play than in top mid. Top mid players are not very scary, especially in this fight where your entire team is already looking top mid. Your window guy's gonna be fighting, your cat guy's gonna be fighting. So top mid's not that scary, but underpass is gonna be scarier, so I throw on the left side because I want that slight advantage. What is my M4 name? Jenny told me to name it this. I'm gonna blame it on Jenny, but I also like condoned it. Okay, but that's your default con setup. You usually don't stray from that, aside from what I just told you, like the sides where you throw your smoke. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, there's not really much change. That's just your default setup. If you're playing ramp on CT, or if you're playing window on CT side, this is what I like to do. I'll run into rat hole, obviously. I'll cross in. This is pretty standard, and I'll throw this flash. The reason I throw this flash is the only time you'd ever be throwing a flash like this is if you know your A players didn't flash for you. If you hear an A player flash for you, a lot of time I'll just come up window, throw this nade, jiggle back, and then come out and start fighting with that nade. And that's usually just how I do it. And that's your pretty standard window setup. A lot of people like this. A lot of people really like doing this, where they come into this window, they break the vent, or they have their teammate break their vent and they throw them all like that. The reason why you do that is because the window smoke will bank off this wall. So when it banks off this wall, it'll land like back here. And then now the smoke is all janked, and then you get a free kill. A lot of players like doing that. That's a pretty good way of playing the window. But that's usually just your standard setup. It's either, if you don't get a flash, you flash yourself, and then you peek with the flash. If you do get a flash, you throw a nade, and you peek with the nade. And that's about it. That's really just all you do in window. And that's how you play your early game setup in window. For cat, kind of the same story. You'll see this a lot in my pugs where I molly halls. You're technically not supposed to. The only reason why I do is because, again, sometimes my B player won't molly halls, and you kind of have to, or else you're gonna get run down. So if my B player doesn't molly halls, I'll molly it myself. And then I just run up cat, throw this flash, and it flashes for me. It flashes for me, and I just peek with it. And this is how I usually do it. If I don't see anyone, I'll usually throw this smoke. It gives you a slight gap here that you can fight through. If you don't see anyone in that gap, it also gives you free cover to fight underpass. So you just stand behind the smoke and you just fight underpass. And you can hold it that way. So that's my usual standard cat setup. A lot of players play like that. A lot of players will play like that. They might not throw this, again, they might not throw this hollow molly so long as the B player threw it for them. So I'll come with the cat, throw this flash, peek with it, kill whoever's here. If I don't see anyone, I'll back out, still throw the smoke, bank it off of it, get this small little gap. Sometimes there won't be a gap because you jank it. But even if you spam this, usually I'll just spam it anyway, even if there is no gap, because a lot of times people will be running up along this wall and you just get a free kill like that. I clear underpass because now I have cover, right? I have cover here besides this chair, but usually they won't be up that fast. So I'll clear underpass real quick, then fight chair. And the smoke is still there, I'll jump up, fight whoever I want. That's just how you fight cat. That's your usual standard early game setup, or early round setup for cat. Make sense? Makes sense, makes sense. And for your B setup, same thing. Pretty much the same thing as cat. The only thing I can ever say that you'd ever do on B is really nothing. Yeah, B setup is really snooze. This one's really simple. If your cat player threw your molly for you, don't throw it. If you didn't, throw it, and that's really about it. Other than that, you just come up here and you just jump spot for the entire round. That's literally it. And by jump spot, you just do this. Make sure you jump here. Don't jump from here. You're going to get headshotted. I'm not kidding. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people play B halls and they jump from this side. Like they'll be jumping here and then jumping back from here, and they'll try to get as many jump spots in as possible. There is no need. If you jump from here, they'll see more of your body, and you're just gonna get drilled. So do not jump from the left side, please. For the love of God, do not jump from the left side. Jump from the right, they'll see less of you. And the reason why I say this is because you're gonna jump in the far left, and then go right a little. What? Well, yeah, you can. It doesn't really matter though, because you can do it from here. This works too. This works too. Only problem is you can get timing like this. You see how small the gap is? And you're pretty much depending on this, because if you jump anywhere farther out, you're just going to get drilled. So this is depending on them not being able to see you and not expecting it, but you only see like a little bit. And that small little timing gap can be it for you. And the reason why I do it this way is it clears everything, right? And you only need this small second, because this time when you're crossing back, they can't really get that far up on you. You always see them long before they're even up. It doesn't really matter. It's such a long run that you can afford to not jump spots that many times. And pretty much as soon as you see them, what I like to do is I drop this smoke here, and I throw this nade, and I run to get right. This is my usual setup. I'll run to get right, and I'll just fight this. I'll let them cross the site, and I'll just fight whoever tries to jump out the window, and that's really about it. Because then the reason why I do this is because then your cat player comes up here, and then he's fighting here with you. So then you're both on one side, and you can support each other. Does that make sense? I don't usually play over here, only because this is a one-way ticket to like getting one kill and then getting traded, and that is not how you carry around. Getting one is not enough. Unless if you're hyper mechanically talented, playing back here, yeah. If you're like super mechanically talented, you're not gonna be able to get more than one here. And obviously I don't trust myself because I'm not mechanically talented. But yeah. Also, I forgot to ping everyone that I'm live. I got a 4K on pistol the other day. Nice, dude. Okay, I pinged everyone that I'm live. And that is all of CT side. T side, pretty much the same thing. There's not really a whole lot of standard plays you can do. Unless you want to make really nuanced plays that don't really make sense. Unless if you know what you're doing. So if you're just doing standard plays, really cookie cutter plays. We'll start A-side. So I'm going Palace. A lot of players, here's one thing that I always hate seeing people do. A lot of players, when they come to clear Palace, they'll just swing this side. This is the worst place to swing. And I'll tell you why. Where do you think they're going to be looking? If someone is pushing Palace, what's the first place they put their crosshair? Do you see what I'm saying? So pretty much as soon as they swing Palace, you're in their crosshair. So why would you do that to yourself? So you're pretty much swinging into them. There's a 50-50. Give yourself the best chance. Come up on this side. And even if they're pushing Palace, there's no need to, because even if they're pushing Palace, there's no need to deal with them right away. They're still wasting their time there. So you just come up here. But then they have to take this really weird, awkward angle on you, and you pretty much kill them as they're walking up. It's either that or you swing close and you pretty much almost always catch them by surprise, so long as you walk up. And that's usually how I play Palace. I don't really throw that many nades in Palace. The only time I really go Palace is if I don't have nades. There's no real point of throwing nades from Palace. There's not a whole lot of good stuff you can do from here. The only really good one that you'd ever do is this. And that's about it. Usually I nade it first and then molly. And then that's about it. And then sometimes I throw this flash. But the only time I throw this flash is if there's no one ramp. If I have ramp teammates coming out, I'm not gonna do that flash. Otherwise, I'm gonna get them killed. So that's the only time. That's my palace play. There's not really a whole lot you can do from there. Ramp play, it depends. Obviously, if your team is executing A, you'd run it differently. You'd go throw your set smoke. Like if I'm throwing a stair smoke, I just throw my stair smoke and go. But if you're running a default with your team, the standard default usually is if you're coming up ramp, you just flash over real quick. And you're gonna try to take this early pick. That's usually what I do. I'll take this early fight. If I don't see anything, I'm gonna back up and pretty much just wait. And just wait for like information across the map. And then I'll play from there. The thing with T side is you don't want to burn your nades early round. That's the thing with T side. You never want to burn your nades early round, which is why you see my plays, which is why you see my standard setups on T side being so limited, where I only throw like 1 or 2 nades at most. But yeah. Now play Mirage and apply one of your setups to a game. I do every single game. You see me do the same things. It's standard pug defaults. So if I'm going top mid, this is usually my standard default. I'll just run up top mid, throw this flash, peek out. Usually your teammate would have thrown a window smoke. If not, if your teammate doesn't throw a window smoke, what I like to do is throw a top mid smoke instead, because this lets you get out to boxes. So you throw this smoke, it'll land here, poof. And then I'd still throw this flash, so I'd throw myself the smoke, I'd throw this flash, cross. The only thing you really have to worry about is con when you do this, which is why when you see me play, a lot of times I throw this flash and I'll instantly go in molly con, and then I'll just go out to boxes. I usually jump spot this to see if there's anyone window, and if the window's smoked off, I'll still jump spot it anyway to see if there's anyone cat. And that's pretty much your standard mid default. And then from here you pretty much just play boxes, and then you just take any fights you can. If there's no fights, you'll start pushing up, and that's about it. I don't want to teach you guys rush plays. There are standard rush plays, like you'll have a teammate smoke your top mid for you, and you throw this smoke, and you bank this flash. And what this does is it lets you take cat for free. You see it blocks off con. Really, usually you'd have a window smoke, but if you don't, just be careful of that and just run up. But I don't want to teach you guys. I don't want to teach you guys rush plays only because they're really niche. They're not always going to work, and it's like you'd only ever use it to like switch up the pace of the game. So I don't want to teach you guys that. What's up, raccoon milk? Thanks for the follow, man. Much love. Hi. What res are you on? 1024 768. And this is my standard B play. I usually run up apps. I'll go underpass, right click this flash, and then that's it. That's my standard B play, always. I go up clear underpass. If I don't see anything, I'll usually come back up, and I'll just play here, or I'll keep on going underpass, depending on what your team is running. If your team's running heavy mid, I'd go underpass. If your team's running like a B split, I go up apps. And that's the only thing that switches. So T side is usually very dry. You don't throw very many things, you just run to a spot and take control of it as fast as possible. And that's about it. But yeah, standard plays. Standard plays or standard setups on Mirage. We can run different maps next time. I'll do you guys on different maps if you guys would like, but for now, this is what I usually do on Mirage. My very standard defaults. They rarely ever change, by the way. When you see me play, it's usually pretty much the same thing. They rarely ever change. Only because to be honest, no one really runs anything else in a pug, because everything else takes more coordination. Obviously, if you're duoing or trio queuing or 4 queuing or 5 stacking, it would be different. You probably run different util sets, because those, like, you have more flexibility with coordination. So if you want to nade stack ramp together, you can. Solo nading's not very good. You're probably just going to burn your nade for fun, and it's not going to do much. So, yeah. Yeah, standard solo queue pug setups on Mirage. Enjoy! And now we queue. I've done enough talking. Time to play game.